Hey fish fans, long time, no update. We did an update video at the start of COVID-19 and I thought maybe it was time for another one just to kind of talk about what's been happening, where we are, what's going on. And life is really crazy right now. So I really hope that you're all doing okay. I know that it's been really different depending on what country you live in. Canada has been really aggressive with the lockdown, and as a result, in my province, we've actually had no new cases for 5 days now, which is really awesome. And I know in the States they've started lifting restrictions, but the numbers are still going up, and I've been very worried about all of my American friends. And then New Zealand seems to be winning this thing. It's kind of amazing. In all seriousness, COVID-19 is a serious illness. I follow a few people who got ill during this time, and even people who did not get ill to the point that they needed the hospital have still been sick enough that they've had some pretty serious complications and they've been sick for months. And it's just something you don't want to get and you don't want to spread it to someone else. So I hope you're all staying safe. I know that quarantine can be really crazy because we're experiencing it. And really things where we are on our side of the world in Nova Scotia, everything was locked down, schools are closed, daycares were closed. Most people were working from home unless they were an essential worker, and Canada gave $2,000 a month called the CERB, and it's like a relief fund from the government, and most people don't have to pay it back. Certain people who kind of double dipped are gonna have to pay it back. But that went on for months and months, and it's still going for some people right now. Sean and I were not impacted by that. We were able to work from home for our day jobs where we do pilot training because we just needed access to a computer to do all that. The actual training itself has been delayed, but making the training is still a priority, so we could do that. We were lucky that way. Mermaid work, everything has been canceled for 2020, like everything. And at first that was really terrifying to us because we're thinking like, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay the mermaid bills? Are we going to have to use money from our day job to pay our side hustle to keep it going? Are we going to go bankrupt? Is there any relief out there for us? We really didn't know. But it turns out all of these monetization things that I put in place for years and years and years are all paying off. So the Mertailor affiliate, YouTube income, stock photo sales, article sales. We're also making money from my clothing sales, from my book sales, from affiliates, like all kinds of different stuff. And we put a lot of investment into that, and all of a sudden it's paying off and it's paying the bills, and we're actually making more money than we do when we are working gigs, which is kind of crazy. So that is really great. It's keeping the mermaid business afloat, and hopefully next year we're going to be able to do some gigs again. We may have the opportunity to upgrade our tank to a bigger tank, which would be really exciting. I'm going to do a whole video about tanks because that's a whole other topic. But yeah, so mermaid stuff has been okay. Other things have not been so great. In Nova Scotia, we had the biggest mass shooting in Canadian history, and it was here and completely unexpected, and it was utter chaos. A man went on a rampage overnight and killed 22 people and then himself. He was able to dress up like an RCMP officer, and he had fake decals on his car, and it was like a decommissioned RCMP car. Like there was all this crazy stuff, and he had people thinking he was a cop, and he was able to gain access into people's homes. It was really, really scary. And one RCMP officer did lose her life trying to stop him. She very heroically went after him and lost her life. And it's been a really eye-opening experience. We aren't used to mass shootings in Canada. They're very rare. We have gun control. We have less population than other places in the world. And it was very shocking. And a week or two after that, they thought there was another shooter, and an emergency alert went out warning everybody to stay in their homes. And this second incident happened to take place where my sister lived, and my sister had been out walking with my nephew and didn't get the alert right away. So that was really, really nerve-wracking, and she's fine. It turned out to be a false alarm, but you can kind of see how these things escalate. Now they're really embracing the emergency alert system because they didn't send it out because of the shooter, and now they have been sending it out. And there's been some positive things where it helped them catch people. So recently a man escaped from jail and they used the emergency alert system to warn people, and then they caught the man and everything was fine. So it's crazy times. I'm just not used to this kind of thing, and everybody knows somebody who knows somebody sort of thing. We did bookings in that area. In fact, had it not been for COVID, we would have been at a pool that Sunday when all this was happening in the morning, and we would have been right in the crossfire. So that's really crazy and creepy to think about. And unfortunately, the sad stuff for Nova Scotia did not end there. A little boy went missing and he still has not been found, and that's been very sad. There was a helicopter crash involving members of the local military, and those people died, and that was awful. And then there was also the snowbirds, which is like the Canadian version of the Blue Angels. So the snowbirds, because of all this terrible stuff that everybody was going through, decided to kind of put on a free show that people could see from their homes. So they flew all over Nova Scotia doing all these tricks. And then unfortunately, when they went west, the female pilot died. Her plane, they think a bird hit the engine and it crashed and she died. So it's just been kind of one tragedy after another, after another, after another. I had a great aunt pass away at the start of everything, and we didn't get to go to her funeral. We haven't seen most of our family since March 15th, so that's been kind of difficult. We had a little ray of light, if you've seen my past video, where we found out we were pregnant, which was really exciting to us because I have a fertility disease. For like 2.5 weeks, I was over the moon and so excited, and then I was told that I was going to have a miscarriage. Medical science is really crazy. They can tell you now before things happen because of signs in your body before you even have symptoms. So I knew for a few weeks that I was going to have a miscarriage, and then I did have a miscarriage when I hit the 8-week mark. And that was pretty much one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through, but I made it through. I didn't need to have surgery, which is really good. I didn't have any long-lasting complications, which is really good because there was a risk of a tubal pregnancy in which I could have lost one of the tubes from my ovaries. And yeah, it was rough. I was really ready to be a mom. I was so excited to be a mom, and it kind of felt like perfect timing because thanks to COVID, we had no bookings until next year, and I was gonna be due in January, and it was just gonna be like, I don't have to worry about juggling the business, I don't have to worry about gigs, and then I have January until June to kind of heal and get better and find a balance, and I can go back to doing gigs if I want to, and it just seemed really perfect. And I just really liked physically being pregnant because it put my endometriosis into remission, and it doesn't for everybody. Only about half of women get to go into remission, and I'd never experienced my life without endometriosis. I've taken medication for it before, but the medication doesn't work that great, and it has loads of side effects. Some of them are long-term. So it was really weird. I remember after we first found out, I kept saying to Sean, this is so crazy. Like, I didn't realize that normal people feel this way, that they feel this healthy and this good, and they don't have pain. So that was sort of a really positive experience to come out of the sad stuff. And the other good thing is that we found out we can get pregnant, because this entire time we thought we couldn't, and I did 6 years of hormonal treatment in hopes that we would be able to, but we didn't get pregnant after I stopped the hormones, so just kind of thought like this isn't going to happen for us unless we have surgery to remove the disease, and then maybe, you know, invasive fertility treatments and stuff, and we weren't really sure that was something we wanted to do. It's really expensive and emotionally draining. So yeah, it was just like a lot of uncertainty, and I was feeling negative because COVID had bumped my surgery, and then I got pregnant and it was just amazing, and then we had the miscarriage. So as you can see, it's been a lot of whiplash back and forth. I'm not the only person experiencing a lot of whiplash right now. The Black community is having a moment. Things have gotten crazy in the United States, and they're also crazy in Canada too. It's not the same, but it is a serious issue, and we do have a lot of racial tensions, especially with Aboriginal and Native people. And because of this, we are seeing the Black Lives Matter movement really gaining momentum again. It's kind of had these moments over the years where it's been peaks and valleys with the public opinion, and now people really seem to be understand the seriousness of this issue. So I've expressed in all of my social media and my personal media that we as a company and Sean and I as individuals 100% and completely support the Black Lives Matter movement, and we have been speaking with a lot of our Black friends and Black mermaids about how we can do better as allies. And I just want to say something to all the white fans out there. you never really stop being an ally. You don't get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm done, I've figured it out and I'm an ally. Like, it's an ongoing thing. As white people, we have inherent privileges, and that you don't have to feel bad about your privilege. Like, everybody in this planet has different privileges. I have privileges above you because I was able to get $10,000 grant for my business, and you're starting with nothing. Like, do you understand? It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person because I got $10,000. It just means that we can acknowledge that I had an opportunity that you didn't have, and we're not on even footing, right? So white people have had tons and tons of privileges, and our ancestors, even though we are not personally responsible for slavery, we did reap the benefits of that through the generations. So this is something that as white folks we really need to learn, and it doesn't have to be coming from this place of defensiveness. And I know it's hard not to feel defensive because you want to be like, no, I'm not racist, I'm not racist. Don't take it that way. Take it as an opportunity to open your mind and learn. Talk to your fellow Black friends and family members and merfolk, and just take a step back, because this isn't about us. It's about them and what they're experiencing. And the issue of racism is not something that Black merfolk are going to be able to fix, because it's the other groups, it's the white groups and other dominant groups that have created it, right? So we have to be the ones responsible for it. So there have been some really great resources coming out in the mermaid community, and I really want to encourage people to follow my friend Mermaid Shay. She has been doing some panels and posting some great stuff. Shay Monique, she also works with the Fat Mermaid Society, which is a body positivity group. So I'd really love if you could just check her out and check out some of the stuff she's doing. And I might do a separate video about this, about how us white merfolk can be better allies. I want to think on it for a bit. I want to talk to some people. I want to come up with some real tangible resources for you. And my big message to you right now is just, please, in this time of turmoil and everything that is going on, show love and kindness, compassion, and empathy and understanding to the Black people in your life. And especially in the merfolk world, they are such a minority, and we really want to be lifting them up. And the other thing is kids deserve to see themselves in their heroes, and that's something I'm reflecting on with Halifax Mermaids. We don't have any Black merfolk. We've tried to add Black merfolk to our team. We haven't had any luck with having people apply, so I've been personally reaching out to different Black people that I've been meeting to see if they would like me to train them and come. And so we do have somebody lined up who's wonderful that I'm hoping we're going to get her trained up when things get back to normal. But it's not even, we don't just want like a token Black person, right? Like, we get you not just adding for the sake of diversity. This is something every kid should be able to see themselves. We should be seeing all different races and genders and ages and everything, so that kids can see that you can be a mermaid and have fun, and nothing else matters. It's all about being a mermaid, right? But we're not there yet. We have to build these bridges. So that was a bit more of a longer rant than I was expecting to make, but there you go. Like I said, I'll make a different video about it. A couple other little things to update you on. I got my new fabric tails. I did an unboxing video. If you haven't seen it yet, you can check it out. I'm also going to be doing reviews of them. I've gotten to use them a little bit, but the weather here has actually still been pretty crappy. And hey, Shawnee, do you want to come show everybody what we got? That's not what we got. So Sean and I have been building up our arsenal of photography equipment. We were able to finally get an underwater housing, and we're looking forward to working with that this summer. And we just got our very first drone. So, Shawnee, do you want to explain to people about the drone? Because it's a bit different here in Canada, right?
Yeah, as far as the rules and regulations go, that you have to have certification to fly drones now in Canada, and this one happens to be 249 grams, which is 1 gram under the limit. It's technically classified as a toy. So we can still use this in most places. You can't use it in airports, or only in designated areas that are considered safe. But you can actually fly this without going through the days of training.
And eventually we might just get Sean to go through the training anyway at some point. It's pretty cool, so we're looking forward to taking that out on the ocean. And we're also ordering a nice free diving float so that we can mark where we are when we're in the ocean doing shoots and have something safe for coming up and doing our breathing on, so that's kind of cool. But really, Shawnee and I have just been taking things one day at a time. I had a lot of health issues aside from the pregnancy and miscarriage. I had pinched a nerve in my neck, and it was, if anyone's ever pinched a neck nerve or a back nerve, it ruins your life. You can't do anything. The pain is unbearable. The only way that I could move without pain was if I put my arms on top of my head. So I was walking around my home like this because it kept the nerve from being compressed. And I would spend whole days in bed because I was so tired from this constant inflammation. Definitely our exercise regime has suffered because we can't go to the gym and we live in an apartment, so we're sort of restricted in what we can do, and the weather has not been very good. So we haven't been outside as much as we would like, so we're definitely putting on the COVID-15, but that's okay because with everything else going on in the world, it's maybe okay if your body puts on a little bit of weight during all of this, right? You can worry about that later. There's kind of bigger things to worry about, so don't stress out about that stuff. I'm just being funny. So anyway, that's my big rambly update. Shawnee and I have a lot of stuff in the hopper that we're trying to work on. It's just slow going, especially with the rules and regulations. We're going to be partnering with HRM to do a Canada Day live stream, which is kind of cool, and we're still distancing here, still using masks, but we've had 5 days as of recording this video. Hopefully by the time you see it, it's been longer, but 5 days with no cases. So let's keep that going, fingers crossed. Please check us out online. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's HFX Mermaid. You can also visit us at patreon.com/Raina Mermaid. We've had a real uptick in our patrons, which is really great, and I'm putting out loads of resources. And I will be giving a workshop for the California Mermaid Convention online. I'm going to do a separate video about that once they release ticket sales to tell you what you can expect, but it's $15 and I will teach you how to work with kids, and I'll do it through an online platform, and you will get a whole bunch of tangible resources that you can print out or keep digitally to help you do mermaid gigs with kids. So best wishes. Thanks so much for catching up with us. Thank you for all the love on my video about the miscarriage, and we're just gonna heal up and keep trying and see what happens. It just goes blurry when you put them close.
Hey, it's right here.
Give me a kiss. Oh, no. No kisses for me. I got smacked in the face.
He runs off. Right.